Homework 11, Polynomial Functions, Video 6. You may have noticed that the previous video ended abruptly. I was expecting a phone call because my car is in the shop. And when that phone call came in, it ended the video, which is okay, I was expecting it. But that gave me a good chance to say, well, here's the previous example, and now I just want to show you a quick gimmick for determining end behavior without the need to memorize that chart that we saw a couple of videos ago. It still involves looking at the leading coefficient and the degree. So let's take the leading term from the previous example. That was negative x to the 6th power. You still have to know the correct questions to ask. The questions are, is the degree odd or even, and is the leading coefficient positive or negative? When you ask the question on the degree, are you odd or even, you'll get one of two answers. Either it will be even or it will be odd. So here's the gimmick for what that tells you. Recall that if it's even, then both ends rise or both ends fall, which means that both ends do the same thing, which is like saying that the ends are equal. So you have equal ends. However, if it's odd, then one rises and one falls. So the ends are opposite, and you have opposite ends. So the gimmick is, even means equal, both start with E. Odd means opposite, both start with O. So if the degree is even, the ends are equal, they both rise or they both fall. And if the degree is odd, the ends are opposite. One goes up, or one rises, one falls. But what about the leading coefficient? The question you ask the leading coefficient is, are you positive or negative? But whatever your answer is, that will tell you the direction that the right end points. So in other words, the sign of the leading coefficient tells you the right end behavior. So if the leading coefficient is positive, that means that the right rises. Never had so much trouble drawing a plus sign. But if the leading coefficient is negative, that means that the right falls. So with those two pieces of information, you can put together the total end behavior. So for example, on this one, here's what I would say. Because the leading coefficient is negative, that means the right falls. Because the degree is even, that means that the ends are equal. That means that the left does the same thing. No need for a table. Let's take a look at one more real quick. Let's say we had q of x, which I think I've already used, but that's okay, is equal to 5x to the 10th plus a bunch of stuff that we don't need. To analyze this one, let's not do 5x to the 10th, let's do 5x to the 9th because I want to do an example with an odd degree. So if you wanted to analyze the end behavior on this one, you would start by looking at the leading coefficient and make a note that it's positive. That means that the right rises. Remember, the leading coefficient sign tells you what the right end of your graph does. And then you would look at the degree and ask it, is it odd or even? It is odd, which means that you have opposite ends. So, if the right rises and the ends are opposite, that means that the left falls. So whether you want to use the gimmick or the table to determine end behavior is up to you.